An online company lets you download songs for 99 cents each after you've paid a $5 membership fee. Which domain would be most appropriate to calculate the cost to download songs? In this case, the unknown is the number of downloads. And remember, X is the domain. That's our input. So if they're asking you which domain, if I ask you how many songs you're downloading, you don't say 4.6. You don't say 2 2/3 like a rational number. You're going to say whole numbers that are greater than or equal to 1. Number 21, remember, when you want to write it in vertex form, what you're doing is you are, in a way, completing the square on one side. I'm going to take these two terms and kind of separate it from the 11. I'm going to factor out a 3. Remember, I'm taking half of 4 and I'm squaring it. So I'm going to add 4. Okay, but since we're working on the same side, we have to balance it off by subtracting over here. But here's the catch. Multiplying 3 times 4 is actually giving you a 12. So I'm going to subtract 12. Okay, I didn't put a minus 4 here because you have this 3 outside, and multiplying that 3 times 4 gives you a positive 12. To balance it, I have to put a minus 12. So I'm going to say x plus 2 squared and then minus 1. So if you notice, I have the same thing as choice number 3. Now, if this question was difficult for you, what I suggest you doing is putting this in your calculator, putting the original problem in your calculator, looking at the graph and seeing how it looks. Then what I would do is I would put in all of the other choices and see which ones are the same graph. Most of this test is asking you to tell me, hey, which of these is the same graph? If I move all the way over and hit enter and change this to a circle, you're going to see this circle tool kind of trace along the parabola. You see that circle? It's telling us that it's the same exact parabola. This is why choice number 3. When solving a system of equations, you usually have to multiply every single term of the equation by the same number. So, like for example, in number 3, they didn't change the top equation, but they multiplied each of these by 3. For this one, they didn't change the top equation, but they only multiplied these two by 2, and they multiplied that one by 3. That's inconsistent. Okay, so that's not a way to solve a system of equations. Based on the graph below, which expression is a possible factorization? If you look at these zeros of this graph, we know that it's crossing at 2, 4, and negative 3. Now, when you're writing the factorization, remember that the signs of the factors are opposite. And the reason why that is because this value of y, the y-axis, this value is 0. So how do I get an expression, what number plus 3 gives you 0? Well, that's negative 3. What number minus 2 gives you 0? That's a positive 2. What number minus 4 gives you 0? That's a positive 4, which would match choice number 1. You see how here's another hint for you. See how there's 3 zeros? 3 places it crosses the x-axis. This has 4 factors. It's not going to be that. The number of factors has to match the number of zeros. Milton has the money invested in a stock portfolio. They don't even ask you to solve anything. But remember, if you write this in a manner where you have this a times 1 plus or minus b to the x. This is the general form. You have to do 1 plus or minus something. Since this value is less than 1, we probably subtracted. Well, what did you subtract inside the parentheses to get 78 or 0.78? I subtracted 0.22. This is your percent of change. It's not 70. It's not 0.78. So in this case, we're going to say it decreases Well, because of the minus and because, it's less than 1, but it's 0.22, 22% per year.